Hello, and welcome to another award-winning episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander with Bona Adhesives.
I'm Rob Johnson with the Bona Training, the award-winning Bona Training.
Very nice.
I don't know what award we've won, but there's got to be something out there.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't
communication.
I tell you though, doesn't that just have the sweetest ring to it?
Well,
Huh?
it really does.
The
Yeah.
award-winning On the
Yeah.
Floor
Yeah.
with Wayne Highlander by himself. The
Mm.
award-winning
Wait,
Wayne Highlander.
that sounds good.
You like that, don't you?
Mm. I'd like to
Yeah.
do one episode by myself. Just one.
Really?
Yeah,
You've done about 100.
Paul McCartney went and did an album by himself when he was with the Beatles. A bunch of people did albums by themselves, even though they were with the
I'm
groups.
really just holding you back, huh? You would have won so many of those awards without me. I want to do one by myself. That's like your wife saying, you know what, this year's vacation, I think I want to go alone. Oh, okay.
I have an uncle and aunt that went on vacation to the Caribbean. They went scuba diving. They got a super scuba diving instructor by a Caribbean guy. The next year, my uncle couldn't go. Well, that was probably the worst decision of his entire life because his wife went and is now married to that scuba diver instructor in the Caribbean.
That was in a movie, you know. That happened in a movie too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Hmm. Well,
I think
that
the
happened to my.
name of the movie was Along Came Polly.
Hmm. Well,
It was Ben Stiller and Jennifer Aniston
okay.
and his wife that was with the scuba diver. She was in Will and Grace. She was Grace in Will and Grace.
Rings a bell.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Anyhow.
Deborah Messing. Bing!
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There you go. Deborah
Yep.
Messing. And her and the guy just got Ben Stiller got married on their honeymoon. She's going to town with the scuba diver instructor.
Going to town. Well, it happened to my
Going to
poor
town.
uncle. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Matter of fact,
Jeez.
she came back and paid for that guy's ticket to move to America. All he owned was a
What
bicycle in the
what year
Caribbean.
did this happen?
It was in the 80s. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
This movie came out in the, I would say, mid 90s.
Yeah. No.
Along Came Polly. I think
Mhm.
that was the name of the movie, Along Came Polly.
Okay.
Funny
Anyhow.
movie.
All right.
Yeah, I give it a 7. The Johnson ranking, give it a
Okay.
7.
All right. There you
Yeah.
go. That's respectable.
All right, let's stay on movies. How was
Okay.
your Fourth of July?
It was fantastic. We had about 30 people over at the house. And it was
Nice.
nice. And the circle of life. It's when we first moved to Tennessee, a lot of friends. A lot of their kids are like 15 years old, in that range, and now all them kids have little 2-year-olds, 1-year-olds, the newborns running around. So we had a bunch of little babies in the house. It was nice, really nice.
Awesome.
Yep.
We did the whole pool thing, swimming, barbecue, tons of fireworks. Then Sunday I had everybody back for brunch, more pool. But since we were talking about movies, for Father's Day, my son gave me he goes, "Hey, here's your Father's Day gift." And it was a coupon to a local theater. They were going to show Jaws on July 5th on the big screen.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That was a present. He gave it to you as a present.
Yes,
What was the
yeah,
occasion?
Father's Day.
Oh, that's right. Father's Day was that. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago.
It's a pretty weak gift, but okay.
Eh,
It's
it
something.
had a lot of sentimental
Okay.
Jaws on the big screen, but we were also taking his oldest boy, Hendrik, right? Because that's it. That's the Johnson movie.
I know why a lot of people don't
Johnson
like me.
movie is Jaws. Everybody in the family, right? So Hendrik said to me, "Bubba, do you think I'll be scared?" I said, "Well, Hendrik, two people, when they see Jaws, you're gonna walk out of there one or two people. Okay." I said, "You could walk out like Nana, okay? Never went back in the water again. Saw Jaws and never went back in the water." Said, "Or you could walk out like me and your dad, where we bought underwater cameras and scuba gear and snorkel gear, and
Mhm.
we went looking for him."
Yeah.
Now he's been snorkeling for a few years already, right? The kid.
Mhm.
So we go through the movie, and it was just it was awesome. Okay. And we walk out, and we're walking to the car. He looks at me and he goes, "Boy, I wish we could go to the beach tomorrow." And I was like, "See,
That's my boy.
there you go. You're
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Hmm.
that a boy. That's
Very
my
cool.
boy."
Yep.
Yeah, it was fun.
Hmm.
Fun time. Great holiday. 250 years.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very nice.
I was just telling Pauline too. I know everybody was jacked up about 250 years, but I think more people were jacked up about 200 years.
Yeah.
And do you know why? This is just
Why?
my feeling.
Yeah. Why?
You were around for that, right? You remember 1976.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But what was it called? They didn't call it
Bicentennial.
200 years. Ah,
Yeah.
say that again.
Bicentennial.
It was called the Bicentennial. Okay. That name just rolled off the tongue. Nobody called it 200 years. Nobody, you know what I mean? It
Yep.
was the Bicentennial. It had a good name.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I think it hit home a little bit more than, I don't get me wrong, 250. That's amazing. But
But
Bicentennial,
in
that's
19,
like that's like On the Floor with Wayne and Rob, or the award winning
yeah.
On the Floor with Wayne and Rob.
In 1976, I was living in a small town in Kentucky, and they buried a time capsule at the courthouse. We talked on the last episode about how time flies and how you just in a click of a finger, you're gone 50 years. This week of July 4th, the whole plan was, and they put a marker up, 1976 bicentennial. We buried a time capsule with a bunch of different stuff in there. I don't know what's even in there. And they said, I assume one of them was my jerseys from the high school I played at, my jersey in particular. But who knows? They put
Yeah,
everything in there.
you don't
And,
know, right?
and then the plan was to dig it up 50 years later. Now, standing there as a 16-year-old kid in 1976, do you think that I thought I would ever, 50 years later, be around when they were digging that thing up again? But here I
Never.
am. Yep. 50 years later, it's in the newspaper. They're dug it back up. I have yet to see what's in it. I have to ask my friend who still lives there. But that's pretty cool, isn't
That's
it?
awesome. Yeah.
Yep, that's a good idea. That's just like when you do floors and you put newspapers underneath the floor. You ever do that? Or write your name?
I never did that, but Pete and I ripped up a floor one day, and me, Pete, and the owner of the house sat reading newspapers, I would say for 3 hours.
No kidding.
Papers, it was all newspapers from like the 30s and 40s. It was awesome. I
Wow.
mean, it was awesome. The guy was more jacked about what we found under the floors we were tearing out than he
Hmm.
was about his new floors. It was just crazy stuff. So fun.
We put newspapers under the floors. We put business cards. We've signed boards, and we've also put like today it's 2000, or it's, let's say it's 1987. So and so is president, and the election is so and so, and we think so and so is going to win, and we put down the whoever we think is damn sure not going to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just put down different stuff in there. I put down before I put this floor down here to last a lifetime, so put it back. Put that on the back of a board before. So, yep. All right.
we
So
once we once had to put new gutters in a bowling alley just outside of Pittsfield, Massachusetts. And when we got there and everything, my dad said, "Yeah, this was one of the last jobs your great grandfather built." I was like, "Wow, really?" And he goes, "Yep, this was one of the last ones that he built." And I was like, "Oh, this is great." So we're, tearing up all the old gutters and stuff, putting new ones in. And I bet we found 20 bottles of whiskey
No,
empty. It was, it was unbelievable.
he was done.
It
Oh my gosh.
was only like a 16 lane bowling alley. I was like, holy. He goes, yeah. He goes, they would, get to the end of the lane or whatever. I was like, oh my gosh.
Wow, what a different time.
Yeah, right there.
Mm. All right. So let's you know,
I got a question to ask you.
yeah,
And it's going to kind of have something to do with today's show, but we are going to do a show today, right?
yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Guy put down, the guy's got I just talked to him this morning. He's got a 3,000 foot install.
Okay.
He wants to put roll guard down,
Yep.
but somebody already painted the plywood with Zinsser,
Yep.
3,000 feet. He wants to put roll guard because he's doing a glue nail assist.
Hmm.
Does he have to sand that Zinsser up?
Yes. Yeah, I would. Two reasons. One, you don't want that much, you don't want to seal the floor that much. And the properties of the roll guard is so much more effective than the Zinsser. So you definitely want to get that off the floor first. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And you want to make sure it has the reaction with the wood and everything. So yeah, I know it's a lot, 3,000 square feet, but best practice, I would take that up.
Okay.
Yep. Let me take it up,
That's what I'm
sand it
doing.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
All right. So we were talking about how you know if a floor guy is knowledgeable because we had a guy come up to us one time and said he was a journeyman floor man, and then I thought, well, if a guy comes up and tells me, actually the guy, the whole deal with the guy wasn't a journeyman floor man. He didn't know much. He was very much lacking. He had a rudimentary education in floors and his hands-on
Yeah,
technical
I
skills.
thought we were going to keep this between you and I.
Well,
You don't have to
yeah,
tell
yeah, I
everybody
figured by
everything
now you'd
about
be
me.
okay with
You know what I
you.
mean?
It's been
Yeah.
a long time, water under the bridge. I thought you'd be okay with it now.
Yeah. Experience doesn't equal expertise.
But yes. Oh, by the way, since you said that, on our local town, a guy asked, he goes, I'm a contractor, I'm kind of new in the area, trying to get a sense on what guys are charging, what here, for jobs and what is acceptable in the area, blah, blah, blah. And what do you guys as homeowners feel like is an acceptable amount to charge? I thought, well, this is very interesting. Here's what
Oh,
here's,
don't.
here's what
Oh, please.
here's what one guy's response was. I think it's reasonable to start at $20 an hour to the contractor, and I add $1 for every year of experience. So if he's been doing floors or not, it wasn't even floors. If he's had 20 years experience, then that'd be $40 an hour. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. What's that got to do with anything?
Well, yeah, give me this guy's number. I want to go work for him.
Yeah, you get 50, 60, $60 an
I'm
hour.
going to get $70 an hour.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Pay me. Yeah.
Yeah,
$70. Look at him. He hasn't got out of the truck yet. As soon as I hit the
yeah,
driveway, buddy,
that's right.
$70. The meter's running.
All right, but our show is about today is like, all right, well, how do you determine a journeyman guy who's been around or has been around the industry? He's knowledgeable. What he's knowledgeable about the industry and the trade and everything. Like, what would you ask him? And we wrote down some questions that maybe you would ask this guy. I'll start with number one, Rob.
Okay.
And then also then I ask you to put down what are we looking for by asking this question, right?
Yeah.
So these should be these shouldn't be too much to ask if a guy's telling me he's a journeyman floor guy, right? All right,
Yeah.
number one, how do you determine whether a concrete slab is ready for a glued down wood floor installation? Okay.
Okay.
And what I'm
Here's what
looking
we're looking
for,
for.
okay. Number one, and these are things that he could bring up. One, relative humidity, RH testing, which is ASTM F2170. Calcium chloride testing. I'd be interested in talking to him about the difference between the two of them. Understanding of moisture mitigation systems and discussion of manufacturer moisture limitations. Okay. You want to go with number two?
I'll
That was
do
your
number two.
that was yours
Yeah.
anyhow. So yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask him, what acclimation procedures do you follow for solid and engineered hardwood flooring?
Okay. So what are you looking for when you ask that question?
Depends on the manufacturer requirements. Number one answer.
Mhm.
Measuring moisture content of both flooring and subfloor. Understanding that the acclimation is about moisture equilibrium, not just time.
Okay, good stuff.
Do
That's a
me a
good question.
favor and dive into the equilibrium thing, please, because we get this at schools a lot, people talking about the equilibrium and what's right and what's wrong. I want to hear from the horse's mouth.
Well, if you're talking about equilibrium, that's when the wood is neither gaining nor losing moisture, right? It's equilibrium. If you're wondering about the difference in the moisture content between the wood floor and the subfloor, is that what you're thinking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for plank floors, which is defined by anything that's 3 inches or over, it should be within 2 percentage points. And for strip flooring, it should be within 4 percentage points, like 2 1/4. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Now
All
that,
right.
yeah, that you
That's
know,
that
you know what? You're smarter than you look.
that was there you
You
go.
get 2 bells for that one.
All right.
Four on
Uh
strip, 4 on strip, 2 on plank. Okay,
yep.
got
All
it.
right. All right. What are the most common causes of cupping, crowning, or gapping in hardwood floors? What I'm looking for is for him to talk about moisture, him or her moisture imbalance, seasonal humidity changes, wet subfloors, HVAC issues, and proper installation practices. Let's just have some knowledge about those type of areas, right? All right. I wrote this one. You wrote the next one after, but go ahead and read it. You're next. So go ahead and
You sure?
yeah.
All right. When would you recommend a moisture mitigation system and what options are available? Here's what we're looking for. High RH in the concrete, new construction, below grade installations, roll-on barriers, epoxy systems, understanding of warranty implications. We're starting to see something here, aren't we? Everyone has definitely something about checking in with the manufacturer
A lot of times. Yep.
of the wood.
Yep. All right. Number 5. What is the difference between a silane adhesive, urethane adhesive, and pressure
Wait,
sensitive?
wait.
Whoa.
I gotta ask
Whoa.
the horse another one.
Hold. Yep.
Yeah, easy. Are there still epoxy systems out there?
Yep. Epoxy systems are the holy grail of moisture barriers, in my opinion. However, you see a lot of them are being used less and less. There's some downside. I mean, they have a short pot life. Some got a lot of smell to them. They're hot. I mean, when you mix them together. So now with a lot of adhesive manufacturers offering unlimited warranties, that's also kind of part of the reason probably why the two-part epoxies have gone away. The roll-on moisture barriers, well, may not be as effective. I'm being completely honest. Uh, Super simple to use, right? Quick and easy to use. So there you go.
What are the prices on epoxy systems?
Uh,
They gotta be wicked expensive.
yeah, a lot of them are. A lot of them are high. Yep. So,
Hmm.
and like I say, you got a really short pot life too when you mix them together. You ever seen them in a can once you mix them? How hot they get? You'll
Well,
see. You'll
the
see that
reason
5 gallon
that
pail smoke.
the reason I asked was we used to use a lot of epoxies. There was an epoxy bowling lane finish system. And it was a 4-minute epoxy, and you had 4 minutes you had like a minute to mix it, and then you had about 3.5 minutes to get down to the lane, end of the lane, and draw it all the way back. And after that, it would be almost too hot in your hand to hold on to anymore. And then it was hard like 3-4 minutes later. But the other problem they had with it, it was just some nasty caustic stuff. I can't believe that there's still any type of epoxy systems left out there. I mean, it wore like iron, but it was just we used to have to put it down with a 35-pound squeegee. Yeah, it was just brutal stuff. Nasty. All right, let's keep going here. We're gonna run.
All right. What is the difference between a silane adhesive, urethane adhesive, and pressure sensitive adhesive? What are you looking for? Product knowledge, benefits and limitation of each adhesive technology, and recognizing where each should be used or should not be used, I'll say too.
Should not be used is even better.
Mm-hmm. All right. Number 6.
All right. What industry organizations and standards do you rely on when making installation decisions? Here's what we're looking for. NWFA, National Wood Floor Association. ASTM standards. I have no idea what ASTM stands for. I bet you do, though.
I think it's American Scientific Testing Methods. I think I could be wrong. It's been a long time.
Oh, nice. Manufacturer, here we go again. Manufacturer installation guidelines, awareness of industry best practices. Man, think of everything that's happened with adhesives and moisture mitigation systems and everything in the last 10 years. The changes.
American Society for Testing and Materials. Well, I should know that.
American Society.
It's been a long time. Yep. All right, number 7.
I think American Scientific. I'm going to go with yours.
Mine sounded better, huh?
Yours definitely sounded better. Yeah.
Well, I told you I know a lot about the Leidenfrost effect, which is another scientific venture I went down.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Number 7. If a homeowner tells you their floor is squeaking, what steps do you take to identify the root cause? What are you looking for? Investigation before proposing a solution, understanding of subfloor movement, fastener issues, moisture-related causes, and structural factors. You ever try talcum powder between the boards when they're squeaking?
Did it with stairs.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can sometimes help.
Yeah, it worked for as long as we were there.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah.
It got us out.
And it's good for your feet. All right, Rob, what do you got for
All right, here we go. How do you evaluate? Let me try that again. How do you evaluate a wood floor failure and determine whether it was caused by the product, installation, or site conditions? Here's what we're looking for. Moisture readings, site inspection process, documentation, elimination of variables, knowledgeable that most failures are site condition related.
Or knowledge that most failures are site condition related.
Knowledge, yeah. I should have worn my glasses for that one.
Half-wit.
That was mean.
It was mean. Sorry.
That was mean.
I didn't mean half. I didn't
You
mean
definitely
half of
are the mean one on the show. But you know what? More people are telling me that, and I
didn't mean half of it.
I think Wayne is just, he's getting old, getting ready to retire. He's hearing that a lot.
Okay. What trends are you seeing in the hardwood floor industry today? That's not that important, but engineered wood growth, wide plank popularity, roll-on moisture barriers, green guard gold, AIQ discussions, competition with LVT, LVP, and labor shortages. All right. And
That's what
finally,
we're going to ask that guy, huh?
Finally, number 10, and then we have a bonus expert question.
Number 10. If you walked on a job site and found a slab testing at 92 RH, what would you do? Here's what we're looking for. Refusal to install without addressing moisture. Recommendation of a moisture mitigation system. Reference to manufacturer limits. A risk awareness regarding future failures. You know, that is one of my favorite things to talk about when I'm doing adhesives is our moisture mitigation systems. I just love that whole, no, we don't trap moisture. We're not a moisture barrier. We control it. We let it pass through. Doesn't disrupt the structural integrity of the wood. It just makes so much sense. It's such an easy thing to explain to homeowners about rather than a moisture barrier trapping moisture and then causing issues down the road.
Yeah. I think that inadvertently the all these major home builders across the country going to LVT are inadvertently going to cause a lot of
Oh,
moisture issues down the road at a later time. Um, I just the recipe's there. It's got
they
to happen. So,
they don't breathe.
yep.
They don't
All right.
breathe. They just trap everything. Yeah.
For a bonus expert level question, I'd ask a 5-inch engineered floor being installed over concrete in a home maintained at 35% RH during the winter and 65% RH during summertime. What movement concerns would you discuss with the homeowner? So that I'm looking for seasonal expansion and contraction discussions, gapping expectations, humidity control recommendations, maintaining a 35 to 55 indoor RH year round. So, I think these are like fair questions of a guy, coming in as a journeyman, just because how else would you know? You can say I worked for so and so for 10 years. Okay, cool. And you had pictures of your work. Yeah, that's cool. But I also think just kind of, just kind of get an understanding of where your
Yeah.
knowledge is
He
at.
might have worked for so and so, but he could have been the dust bag guy,
Well, I was
paper
going to
cutter.
say, a lot of times that guy's not making all the major decisions on the job.
Yeah.
Sometimes with
Right.
with respect to these type of things. And you listen, you could be in the trade for a long, long, long time and not have an appreciation of these things because you're there to do the work, and the guy just says go, and you go, or he says don't go, and we don't go. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you're just following orders and doing your job. You could be a great journeyman, but you don't get involved in these conversations because it's somebody else's job, the estimator or the owner, whatever, and you're just doing the actual work. So, but that's why I think it's good to have no matter what, a knowledge of everything you can that involves what we do every day, right? I mean, we do this every day for a living, so I think the more knowledge we pick up, the better off we are for it. So,
Hmm.
all right,
All righty.
what else you got, homeboy?
I'm done.
You done?
I'm
All
done.
right, yeah,
Well, you got anything else?
no, I'm done.
All right.
All right, let's call it a wrap.
Yeah. Let's send this one out. Another award-winning rap.
Okay. This has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. Please stay tuned for another episode.
Do another. Try it. Try it your way.
That was my
This has
way.
been another episode of the Wayne Highlander Show. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh,
We'll
can I
see
do
you
that?
next week.
Just let me feel what it would see what it would feel like.
Go ahead, do it.
Just
Absolutely.
one time. You won't be offended,
Yeah.
right?
No, I'm fine. I told you to do it.
Okay, let me stop laughing. Well, this is a big moment.
Do it.
This has been another episode of the Wayne Highlander Show. Please stay tuned for another. Oh, that sounds good, man. Man, that sounds really good. Would you like to have another role in this, like a behind the scenes role?
Yeah, I'll be the cameraman.
There you go. You'd
You
still
can
be
talk to me.
involved. You'd
Remember
still be
Letterman,
involved.
David Letterman used to talk to him, his cameraman all the time. It was
Yeah.
funny.
You don't need to talk back necessarily. I could just talk to you.
Or, you know what? Instead of doing that, maybe it's the Wayne Highlander show and I'll have like a band. I'll do the music. I'll be
Tell
your
you
music
what,
guy.
you know what? Maybe you can't visualize yourself moving up in the world. Why don't you try it? The Rob Johnson Show.
The
That might
Rob
be good for your
Johnson show.
that might be good for your self-esteem.
There will be absolutely nothing about floors on the Rob Johnson show.
Well, try
It'll
it.
be about movies and barbecue, maybe some music. Yeah, there'd be nothing about wood floors in there.
I just gave you an opportunity to visualize yourself moving up. PMS. PMS. PMS?
PMS, premenstrual, isn't that premenstrual syndrome?
PMA. Positive mental attitude. PMA. You need to have
PMA.
PMA, not PMS.
No,
Yeah,
no,
positive mental attitude. You
it's
got to be able to.
impossible. It's impossible for me to get PMS. Can't
Yes.
happen.
Well,
Yeah,
apparently not these
yeah.
days.
Can't
But
happen.
okay, why don't you just try it yourself so you can visualize what it would be like for you to take ownership of this thing?
Of the show.
Yes.
All right. This has been another episode of the Rob Johnson podcast. Please stay tuned for another episode.
How dare you? I want to see if you cheat on me, and you did.
Oh,
Okay.
in a second. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you on the next one. Bye.